really paid attention. Nobody really believed me. They're just like, he's just some autistic kid rambling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, everything I do is documented by somebody. I'm not really sure, what's going on, and nobody really believed me. They come. I remember, in my room, somebody broke in. I'm like, you guys are being documented. They're like, not this time. You're not going to fool us this time. And then literally, they're like, hey, wait a minute. Is that a camera flash out in the field, out in my house, out the window? Because I'm like pointing out, I'm like, sometimes, because they're asking me like, okay, we're not falling for it, but can you tell us kind of what you're saying? I'm like, well, sometimes people videotape over there, some people over here, sometimes in my house. I'm like, I'm not really sure what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Then it became a big hup to do, like, oh my gosh, we were doing all these things, and Martin has a huge following of people that we never realized existed.
The Westminster Homeowners Association.
We're not talking about that, but just other things.
All right, man. I mean, I'm not trying to get you like too worked up or anything, but I got my own opinions,
No, you can have your opinions, but if you don't have any facts, if I don't have any facts on something, it's just an opinion.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of information out there. It's just kind of up for interpretation, I guess.
Yeah. And so just like what I talk about, you're not one of the kids in my house. You weren't one of the kids taking pictures and videotaping. You're not one of the adults that showed up taking pictures and videotaping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's my concern with everybody going, it never happened. I'm like, well, a lot of people lost their lives because they realized, kids and people from other places don't even speak English were videotaping, taking pictures and documenting, who was coming and going and where they were taking me and my wife. And
has anybody but you seen those pictures and videos?
Yes. Now we're, I wouldn't be here. I'm going to help you. I would not be here today if somebody else hadn't seen them. The problem is, say I'm an 8-year-old kid or something like that, 6-year-old kid, and I videotape some bad things happen to you with my phone. Are you going to basically give me up as a witness so you can corroborate your story, so you can so you can prove things to a bunch of strangers?
I see.
So when I talk about getting the kids out of my house during these situations, the kids they're traumatized. They have to see counselors. They have to talk to their parents about it. They have to talk to, I'm sure they had to get to the police and things like that. So there's the adults that deal with the kids that escape these situations, because kids always come. If you pay attention, most of my followers are children. Most of my followers are children. Oh, I lost him. I'm not really concerned with, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not concerned with all that stuff. Oh, let's change the subject, something happier. How you doing, sir?
Hey man, how's it going?
Pretty good.
That's good to hear, man. Hey, listen, dude, I wanted to ask you because some of your content about religion and all this kind of stuff it hits home to me just on a spiritual level. I was wondering if you've had any experience with psychedelics yourself, or
it
if
doesn't.
they had make you
It's all
take.
garbage. It's all garbage. I find it very fascinating. Like all these famous scientists and all these famous people write books, The Food of Gods and the da 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 da. And
Yeah.
you read their book and they're like, oh, this is how ancient civilizations used to speak to God. And then you go, where did you source this information? They go, I sourced it from Egypt. I sourced it from Peru. I sourced it from Machu Picchu. And you go, on Machu Picchu, like all these places, they talk about a sun disk. They used a disk, an actual device, without drugs to see God. But they did use psychedelics when somebody broke their back, had gangrene, was dying. So that when they were passing over to death on their journey to see God, not to see God while they were alive, to help ease their pain in passing
Well,
as they're
so
losing their.
so so I'm just curious. What do you think about like Amazon tribes and stuff like that taking ayahuasca and
When they
having
die. Now we get
experience?
somewhere. Now we're going to get somewhere. For
Yeah.
death. For death. Now we get somewhere. When do the Amazon tribes take it? Me and you are an Amazon tribe. You fall off a cliff and break your back. We don't have a doctor that can make you better. We're going to give you some ayahuasca so the kids in our tribe don't have to hear you scream for the 3 months it takes you to die. So did we give it to you so you could have a spiritual journey, like walk around and see God while you're walking, or are they giving it to you so nobody has to hear you scream in pain and misery for 3 months until you die of your injury? It's a big difference.
So you don't believe that these psychedelic experiences are legit or
They're not. It's we know they're not. We know they're not. We know they're not under without you don't read all of the information from those tribes that took them. Somebody's led a lot of people today to believe they took them at 20 years old, dancing around the fire to see God, and then they go about hunting and fishing. Those tribes tell you, as a healthy male, a healthy woman, you are never to take ayahuasca. It'll stop your ability to hunt and gather and feed your family. You will not be able to help take care of the tribe. You'll no longer be a functioning member of the tribe. You'll become a liability. You won't remember how to hunt. You start talking to yourself. You become a little bit crazy. You don't fit into the tribe anymore. You cause problems at the tribe. They tell you, but if you break your back, you're dying. Take all the ayahuasca you want. When you're dying, take all you want. It'll ease your pain till you cross over to the spiritual world. And that's where people get confused.
let me just ask you this, and I don't mean to interrupt, but like your experience in the military, did they ever put you through that kind of test where you had to take a psychedelic or anything like?
No, they don't
med-
use psychedelics in the military. They don't use that garbage in the military. Now I'm going to help you. Here's another thing. So at boot camp, you've heard the military uses acid for an awakening, right? In some people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But because you're educated, you're thinking it's psychedelics. When you do 1,000 push-ups a day in boot camp and you're in a calorie deficient diet, your body creates lactic acid and ketones that oxidize into acetone. They do make you use acid, but not acid, a psychedelic acid your body makes. So I think that's fascinating that you don't have the basic education to know your body does make acid that grows your brain and makes you smarter. There is acid that you can take to grow your brain and make you smarter. Huh?
Like your endorphins.
No. It's lactic acid, ketones that oxidize into acetone and other things. Your body does make acid, and your brain does use acid for an awakening, but it's not acid you eat. It's acid your body makes.
So okay, that's interesting. So let me just ask you this, just one last question. It it seems like you're kind of traumatized by a lot of your experiences in the military. Do you think you've carried that PTSD still to this day?
Yes, but only because I feel like I'm in a simulation. I feel like I keep starting over. You know, like I don't know how to explain it. You know, like I got a Mandalorian doll I sleep with. You know, a Grogu. I feel like stuff. Like I feel like I bought that more than once. I should, me and my wife have these beautiful couches we got at the Goodwill. I feel. I remember. I remember trying to. I remember trying to carry them into my house, and this was before my wife started working at Walmart. And she was, she did a lot of desk jobs, so she didn't have the physical strength to really participate in carrying furniture very well. And I remember carrying it in and by myself, and I had to drag it, and I cut it, kind of scratched it, scuffed it up really bad. I made myself a mental note, and I hide myself notes places. I don't necessarily hide them, but I stick things places where it's not in a pamphlet. I didn't write myself a note and put it on the table. I didn't put a Post-it on the ground. I do weird exercises. I do weird things because of my autism. So I put things under a brick where I know I'm going to look for a frog, right? I'm like, I'm fine right now, but I need to remember this note. I'm not going to go look where the notes are, but I will go if I get hurt or I'm sick. I am going to go dig for beetles over here. I am going to go play over here, and that's where I put my notes, if that makes sense. So I find a note saying, don't forget to fix the couch that you drug